So happy to be here this evening. So let me introduce you to the first guest speaker representing the academic seat, Tine Van Lommel. Tine is the driving force behind KU Leuven Kick, supporting young innovators and entrepreneurs with their brand new business ideas. Besides helping young innovators, she's working as an innovation manager at Leuven Research and Development from the KU Leuven. So voilà. Then our second speaker, Sam Hendrickx. Sam is the co-founder of Craftworkz, Raccoons. Raccoons is a part of the Cronos group. And with Raccoons, they work on very innovative technologies, ranging from advanced software prototyping to machine learning and so on. So very glad to be here and to sit on the industry seat, Sam. And then last but not least, we have Saïd El Khadraoui. As a former vice mayor of Leuven, but also member of the European Parliament, he has strong ties, of course, with the local government and the European government. Additionally, he is also co-founder of the Hoorn and chairman of Stuk in Leuven. And recently, in 2020, he founded Impact Lab with a mission to address the climate crisis and accelerate systematic change for a sustainable world. So Saïd will represent the government seat. So the first question I would like to ask you all before we start is like, okay, it's about innovation here. So what does innovation means for you, Tine?
Well, innovation for me, it's a change, but it's a change in a positive direction. For me, innovation and entrepreneurship, they go hand in hand. I cannot see them apart from each other. And they're both drivers, so they actually drive the world towards something good. For me, innovation is also a bit a buzzword sometimes. Innovation can be very big, can be disruptive, but innovation can also be very small, like a good idea, a simple good idea, a new idea. For me, is also innovation.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Innovation indeed around the corner. Some innovation.
Yes, I think Tine already said it all.
Ooh,
but yeah, innovation for me is the process of creating value by applying new solutions to meaningful problems. And I think these new solutions can be in the form of new technology, can be in the form of new methodologies, or even just introducing a new way of working.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Saïd?
I fully agree.
Now it's difficult.
I don't have anything to add. Well, actually, so yes, for me, innovation is about improving things, can be product, services, but also finding solutions to problems that our communities, the society experiences. And it can be technology, but it doesn't have to be technology. No. It can also be social innovations, new ways of working together, for instance. So it's a very broad concept. In a positive sense, it's about improving things indeed. I mean, helping us together to go towards something better. But it's not automatic. You know, in the past, many innovations actually led to worse things, maybe sometimes with unintended consequences and etc. And so that's why, since I am at the government seat, I think I also need to say that what I like in recent developments is the kind of mission-oriented innovation that gains momentum, which is to try to identify the key issues we need to solve and mobilize everybody with very different backgrounds to try to solve it. So it's a kind of co-creation element that I also like in innovation.
Yeah, yeah, I can only agree on this. We see with the startups, for instance, also that a lot of startups nowadays are very purpose-driven. Purpose-driven based on, indeed, some clear missions, sustainability, health, and so on. Okay, before we go further, you believe we should make a difference between innovators in the sense that, like, you have people that invent stuff, inventors, and I believe you also have, like, innovators who are more like trying to make a company out of it. Do you believe that there's, like, kind of difference that we should make between people are busy in inventing and people busy in innovating as an entrepreneur? Maybe Sam?
I think the difference between both of them is, I think the key traits that an innovator has is a fail-fast mindset. They can come up with ideas, but they can kill it or pivot it quite quickly as well. I don't know if that's a trait that inventors also have. Maybe they get stuck up with an idea and try to stay with it, even if it's not a good idea. So maybe that's somewhere to draw the line.
You can have an innovative inventor, maybe.
You can combine them.
Inventors are innovative. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe, I'm not an expert, but I would think that complementary teams actually achieve much more. So you need a bit of everything. You need an inventor, but you also need somebody who can kind of make something out of this and sell it, you know. And so these different skills are actually needed to get to something really interesting.
So you see an innovator more as a team than as a person?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, of course, there are great innovators. I mean, and there are people who invented great things. But generally speaking, I think you achieve more because we are not superwomen and supermen. I mean, you cannot do everything perfectly. So I think the teamwork is crucial to be able to reach more, to achieve more.
I agree, because you can have like an innovative idea, but that's just an idea, right? You really have to to make the idea real happening, and then you need a team, and the team, I agree, it's key. You need a complementary team. You need somebody who know a bit about the business, about the market, about the technology, maybe, if there's. So yeah, I agree.
I think, Dirk, when you are screening the batch of startups, that you screen mainly also the founders, if it's a good mixed team, and I think that is exactly what you are saying as well. So
yeah, and also, I mean, that's what you are doing with your incubator. It's also taking some parts of the journey out of the hands of these people, help them, to learn from others. I think the networking element is also an interesting thing that can actually stimulate innovation. I mean, you mentioned I was co-founder of The Horn with some friends, and we created a place that works very well because we have different types of companies coming together. They don't know each other, but before Corona times and hopefully after Corona times, they meet at a coffee corner. They ask, what are you doing? And maybe we can work together, and they do. And it's out of this that new innovations arise and new projects arise, and that's exciting. And I think we need to trigger this further. And in a way, Leuven has this scale that makes it possible to meet easily and to communicate and to work together. So, yeah.
So talking about Leuven, Leuven, of course, is also well known for the university. I believe at the university there are a lot of smart people there working on some new technologies, new inventions and so on. And that's a little bit what you do probably also with Leuven Research and Development, trying to make actually, like, out of these inventions, some companies.
They have to go to the market. That's what we try to do at KU Leuven Research and Development. So there is a lot of going on within the research groups and a lot of inventions, but actually they should go to the market that people can benefit from all those new inventions and technologies and so on. So actually that's what we do at LRD, KU Leuven Research and Development. We try to get them to the society, let's say, and can be in the form of a spin-off company, but can also be like a collaboration between a professor or a research group and a company. There are different ways of doing that.
You are doing this already like for a couple of years, Tina. So what's the most impressive thing you saw coming out of university? As an innovation, is there something which you?
Oh, that's a very tough question. I will not pick out one, but I think for me it's super impressive to see all the different innovations and all the different aspects there. So that's what's super interesting also about my job, that I see a lot of going on, and can be something about pharma now, the vaccine, Rega, but I also see now cybersecurity. Yeah, they're also really
Fish, they were on the news this week.
yeah, for sure. And you see all those different types of innovation and new inventions, and that makes it super.
For you,
super
what's
nice.
the most impressive you saw like the last couple of years here in the region of Leuven?
Oh, that's a tough question, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is a tough question. I think not specifically in Leuven, but it's something that I saw happening in our team. For example, I can give an example of that. Pre-COVID, so pre-March, our team, or a subset of our team, was developing a solution, an intelligent camera to count cars. And there was a use case in a parking lot for it. But then when March, the COVID shockwave hit us, to describe it like that, we got a lot of requests from our customers in retail and so on. They all of a sudden needed to count people. They needed to count how many people are going in, are they wearing face masks, and so on. And that team pivoted that idea to count cars in parking lots going in and out to a COVID-related solution that was able to count people, see if they were wearing face mask or not, then the doors would stay closed and so on. And I think that type of innovations are extremely cool, starting with an idea and pivoting to something completely else in like 4 weeks. So not specifically for Leuven, but it's something that I found very cool last year. So.
Yeah, and it shows that under pressure, humans can be very creative.
In times of crises and pandemics is surely one of those crises. I think innovation really beats.
I mean, for instance, when you mentioned the example about the solutions for COVID, I mean, Materialize, for instance, is a nice company that also developed a whole range of new tools to be used during a COVID crisis. But there are also, types of social innovations that have been implemented. I mean, the way, for instance, in Leuven, how Leuven, actually, the Leuven community addressed the COVID crisis, bringing together, let's say, the whole life science community, health community together, and implemented a roadmap of actions to help people. That's also a great innovation for me, because these people, they didn't know each other before, and now they did. And what's more, I think that after this they will continue working together, and that's the nice thing about this crisis. Maybe the only positive side is that sort of this will somehow stay, but in a positive sense.
Never waste a good crisis.
No, true. And I really like that you also mentioned the social innovation there, because often those types of innovation, they're not like called innovation, because innovation is sometimes really like linked with technology. With technology, and I really like that you're now mentioning also social innovation. True, it's also innovation.
I see there on top of the Slido, so please, if you have questions, put them in Slido. But I see somebody I know very well, and I think Sam, you also know him very well, Stefan Kruijmans, with the question like, what would be your dream innovation? Imagine that everything is possible.
Oh, it's a difficult one.
Sam, maybe to start with you, like, what would be your dream innovation?
That's a very difficult question.
I don't know, what do you think will be possible within 10 years, and would be great if this would be possible within 10 years? Yeah,
I think loads of stuff. I think we will see amazing breakthroughs in different fields of technology. I will speak from the technology side. I think major breakthroughs in AI will completely change the way healthcare is working. We will be much more connected, much more AI-driven, but also much smaller innovations, like, for example, driverless cars, to name something. I think the government seat still has to do some work there, but once that is done, we will have driverless cars. That is something that some people couldn't imagine 5 years ago, and I think if we take the horizon 10, 20 years, we will see amazing stuff. Maybe space exploration will be something that will open up as well. So, for me, amazing times to be alive, I think. You mentioned the buzzword AI. Yes. So AI is everywhere. So and AI is everything. So like looking in the future. So
So what do you think, like within this and 10 years, what would AI bring? You think it would be like completely in our life?
I think, first of all, I think it is already completely in our life, but in a lot of different areas, and maybe it's very small from a recommendation to whatever. But I think AI will be much more incorporated in decision making. It will not completely take over decision making in certain areas, but for example, let's say in a legal point of view, like in court, I can imagine in 10 to 20 years, AI will be a prominent role there in decision making or aiding in making decisions. I think the same, for example, the parliament, for example. If a new bill has to be voted, I can imagine that AI will make suggestions in advance to make sure that everybody will be on the same page and so on. So I think it will be more in those areas that we will see innovations in the next 10 years and in healthcare and so on. But yeah, it's always dangerous to make predictions in such a short period of time because everybody will keep me accountable if I say something now. Yeah.
As a European Green Deal advisor, if you may dream, Saïd?
Well, I mean, I hope that we will find solutions to address the climate crisis. I mean, we know that to get to a climate neutral world, actually we need to, I mean, half of the, let's say the efforts are to be made with technology that is not yet economically viable. So we will need a lot of innovation together. However, in contrast to COVID, we will not be able to find one vaccine to address the climate crisis. There is no silver bullet. We will have to find a whole range of tools and instruments and, you know, also adapt our behavior, etc. And I hope that inventions in other areas, like in AI, will actually contribute to greening the economy and the society and not slow down the effort. So I think we need to find a way to bring together the green and the digital transition and make it work so that they help each other, not against each other. I think that will be one of the big challenges for the years to come.
And I think there is momentum for that now, because I think over the last 12 months, I think there is, I read an article somewhere, a chance for change for environment. Our team is 45 people. We used to put 45 cars on the road in the morning and in the evening. We are working fully remote now. Yeah. I think everybody is getting that mindset that now is a time, and combining technological know-how with your know-how, for example, is something that can create
and somehow
great innovations.
People realize that they did stupid things in the past.
Like? Now I'm very curious.
Like using a car. No, but you know, 92% of the time a car is parked. It's a very expensive asset, you know. And when a car drives, only 1.5 people are in the car, and there is place for 5. So why don't we spend that money for something else? I think it makes a lot of sense. And people, due to changing circumstances, start to realize that. And they say, okay, instead of buying a car, maybe I should just share a car with some neighbors, or you know, buy a bicycle and you know, combine different mobility solutions. So, yeah.
You know what is very difficult there? That's human behavior.
Exactly.
Change of human behavior is super
But technology
difficult.
can help, innovation can help.
I fully agree,
to understand how
Yeah.
irrational you are behaving, that can already help to change your behavior a bit.
And I think that is the perfect field, like when you say car mobility or mobility in general, where technology will play a major role. If you look 20 years from now, the driver, let's imagine driverless cars are there, sharing a car where you don't have to put someone behind the wheel. It will come, and I think that will solve a lot of problems as well.
And it will be the end of parkings.
Finally.
And we can do a lot with the space that becomes available.
Yeah, maybe some co-working spaces or something. Yeah, great
Talking
idea.
about mobility, do you actually know? So Leuven is leading there.
Yeah.
So there are like 2 startups already scaling up in Leuven, companies working, making a new speed pedelec, which is better than the ones that we know now on the market. So with Elio bikes and ASCAP bikes, we really have like 2 Belgian speed pedelecs.
Can we invest? because that's really a future-oriented company.
Maybe if they are
If,
looking, if you look into the camera, you can make an offer. Or
I can give you coordinates to Jorrit Heidbuchel, the co-founder of Elio. He will be happy to to have this question. Maybe Tine, on the dreaming, like, do you have like a kind of dream if you think about innovation?
I will take dream then, really like dream. I think time traveling would be super cool. Because I think time traveling, if you go into the past, we will learn so much. I mean, why are things the way they are now? We could learn, but also look into the future would be all super cool. So,
Indeed,
Yeah.
if we all look at Star Trek and Star Wars, like Beam Me Up and so on, like almost everything in these like old series is already there, except for the time traveling and the Beam Me Up. Yeah, indeed,
so the
nice.
time traveling.
The next question I see there, like, how did Leuven handle the pandemic in terms of innovation? Like very specific on, I don't know, on Leuven, Saïd.
Yeah, I think I already answered that partially. I mean, it's all about bringing the right people together and co-create solutions using all the knowledge available in a very diverse group, and use all the, you know, the power that all these organizations have and the, you know, in the health sector and beyond. So I think that went pretty well. I think also, you know, it's linked. It also need to be linked with the good communication tools, you know, to reach out to people. I remember, you know, also the city calling older people, ask how it goes, and so on. And so it's a mixture of many things that make it more bearable, let's say, to go through this periods. But ultimately, you know, the crisis is what it is, and this remains a very difficult time for many people, whatever you do.
Yeah. Another question, where do you believe Belgium, Leuven stands when it comes to innovation? If you compare us with other countries, what can we do better? And maybe there also to start with you, Saïd, as you worked at the European Commission, you have a pretty well view on what's happening in Europe. How do we compare with other countries?
Well, I think, generally speaking, Belgians are a little bit conservative, not so the front runners when it comes to using new technology. So I have a friend working in the telecom sector, and he says, you know, it's very easy here. We just need to look what happens in the Netherlands, and a few years later it comes to Belgium, and we need to be ready for that. So I think maybe we need in our education system to help young people to be more daring, to be more creative, to come up with. I mean, it's maybe also part of the mindsets that we need to change slowly. But I think in the Leuven ecosystem, of course, we have everything we need really to be better than the average in Belgium. And I think, as we showcased already, there is an ecosystem that actually help people really to be more daring and to innovate and so on. Yeah. So yeah, that would be my answer. I think there's still room for improvements, but I think my colleagues will.
It brings
will
me to
more.
education indeed.
Yeah.
Like I think Tine, you can.
Yeah, about KU Leuven, the Reuters ranking for the fourth time in a row, where KU Leuven is nominated as the most innovative university. If they say it, it will be true, right? So, but of course, that opens a lot of doors. We have like questions from all over the world, of companies, of universities. So that really opens a lot of doors for us, people want to work together with KU Leuven. So,
yeah, it's nice to be on top of this ranking.
Yes, for sure. But I mean, it's also, and I fully believe that, it's also because we're here in Leuven and we're part of the ecosystem. We have our university hospital. We have all those companies, like there is the Cronos Leuven, like there is IMEC. I mean, we're part of it.
It took 30 years to get there. Huh? It's a lot of effort, a lot of work to create such an ecosystem.
Yeah, true, but I really believe that it's also the reason why KU Leuven is doing so well on that innovative
and maybe also
aspect.
because of your programs. I think you have now more and more programs also towards students to get them more into entrepreneurship and innovation.
Yes, true. So we believe that all our students at the university should be at least should have an entrepreneurial mindset, let's say. We don't think that all our students have to start up their own company, but we think they all need to have like entrepreneurial skills, because if they go out and they go to a company, you also need to be entrepreneurial, right?
But that's an important distinction, the entrepreneurial spirit or becoming an entrepreneur. I think what you said is right. You need to have the entrepreneurial spirit in whatever place you work. You can be entrepreneurial as a teacher in a school. You can be entrepreneurial in a hospital environment, or you can, jump and try to create your own company like you did.
And then we call them intrapreneurs, and it brings me maybe also to the industry seat. I think you are also working a lot on this intrapreneurship.
Yeah, I think also what we see a lot is, for example, when we talk about the ecosystem, the close collaboration between the university and companies like us in Leuven is also something that makes it quite unique. I think, for example, just to give an example, we have, I think at the moment, over 15 interns from KU Leuven and the other schools as well. And we always give them the opportunity to work, for example, on a project that we think of, something we need or something that we think is creative. But we always give them the opportunity, come up with something. Is it something, an idea that's on your mind and you've been working on it in your head, but you never had the time to work on it? Okay, come here, 3 months, build it. We'll guide you when you need it, but try it out. And I think that is also something that we see more and more students coming up with their own ideas, trying to do it, and in the end, graduate and become entrepreneurs. But I think that is something that is becoming more and more out there.
Yeah, for sure. And I really also want to say that for us, because KU Leuven KIK, who has that mission, for us it's really a challenge to reach out to all faculties, and that's what I was saying about the social aspect there. Because for us it's much more easy to convince or to talk to students of the faculty of science and engineering, or to economic department, but we also want the people of social science and humanities there, and they're also innovative and they're also entrepreneurial, but they don't call it that way.
They're more humble.
More humble than the engineering.
They're not more humble, but they feel, let's say, they don't call it entrepreneurship. But the thing is, and we said it already like a couple of times, we also need those if we talk about the complex challenges like climate change. We definitely need those students and people also to help.
So we are now talking about the innovative mindset. I see there's a question on this, what are 2 to 3 ways of practically developing an innovative mindset? Is there somebody who wants to tell something about him?
I think some traits that I see at people who let's call them innovators, I think they have always an endless curiosity. They always want to figure stuff out, learn new stuff, read everything out there. But also, I mentioned that before, about that fail-fast mindset. I see a lot of people coming up with ideas and they test it and they see that it doesn't work, but they hold on to it. People with an innovative mindset, they come up with ideas or find something, they test it, and if it doesn't work, they kill it or they pivot it. And I think failing fast by failing
Yeah.
fast, you make progress much faster. I think those are two.
Experiments.
Yeah,
I call them
experiments. Yeah, experiments.
Yeah.
That is something that needs to be done much more.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, this brings me to the next question from Jurgen Goens, which I also know very well from Lilo. If you ever need translations, you have to be at Jurgen Goens, and at Lilo they do like translations.
Yeah. I know.
yeah.
It,
Indeed, with an innovative platform. So his question, do you think our big Leuven players, IMEC, InBev, KU Leuven and so on, should have a standard platform to meet the Leuven startups? So,
Well, I think there is room for improvement. I think we need to make better use of the big players we have and link it more to the very local early stage startup scene, let's say. And I think the mayor talked about innovation for the better. I think this could be a nice team that brings together all these players. And maybe we should create a platform together with other initiatives like KBC started and others to see whether we need to streamline this or reinforce this or see where there are gaps to make it happen. I know, of course, that companies like AB InBev, they have their own like in-house startup mechanisms,
silos,
but it's very much focused on their own in-company growth. But let's reflect on it. So that's would be my suggestion.
I also believe that's one of the missions from Leuven Mindgate, to bring together the ecosystem, like all the Triple Helix, but also including startups like Lilo. They are also part of Leuven Mindgate, and more startups. So they try to network and connect there with the bigger companies.
But network is a first important step, and I think indeed you mentioned Leuven Mindgate is an excellent organization to achieve that. But I think we need to go one step further, and what we need is kind of accelerators, ways to
access to their know-how as well.
Yeah, access to their know-how and use actually the strength of these big players more than we do today.
I can only agree, and that's what we do with Started at KBC. Indeed, we try to connect these startups with these bigger companies. All right. One of the next questions. The one of Stefan we already got, I believe. So Geert Slagmulders, the co-founder of Turbulent hydropower, also situated near to Vaart, in the Vaart, near to the Vaart in Leuven. Maybe you ever heard of them. Working on green energy via hydropower. So Geert, his question is there a platform where you can find the inventions of the KU Leuven that are ready for commercialization? Do matchmaking is mainly startup driven? Do you believe innovation is mainly startup driven? Maybe this is like...
I think it's switched.
Sorry, it's switched indeed. Do you do matchmaking with local entrepreneurs? So I think it's a question towards Tine. So there's a lot of smart people at the university, maybe probably a lot of IP, and not only at the KU Leuven, also at IMEC and so on. So, but are there some activities to...
Yeah, actually a platform where all inventions are, I don't think that exists actually, but we do have a lot of people, let's call them business developers, who are constantly making connections, and of course also to local entrepreneurs. So yeah, there is a lot happening there, of course, but I think that here it really mean like a platform, an online platform where you can just take a look at all the inventions. No, that's not there. I think.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet,
maybe
but
that's
can
the next,
be a good idea.
Maybe that's indeed, Saïd, maybe an idea to have like, or with the Raccoons group to do like a huge hackathon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Together with the KU Leuven, and then bring it on all together.
And also link it with the previous idea to use the big guys.
And I don't think that it's only a thing of KU Leuven, because all the R&D companies here, they also have like inventions there. that they maybe can spin out.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
look at
absolutely.
Cronos, it's the same actually. So I
Yeah.
think they can also be part of it, for instance. So.
Yeah, and I love the hackathon idea. I didn't know who gave the hackathon idea, but recently, it was not with KU Leuven, sorry, but we did a hackathon with VRT and with Artevelde, and then us as a technology company, to come up with ideas around fake news. But it was extremely interesting because we had access to the research from Artevelde, we had access to the VRT, which of course has a lot of information, and then our technology know-how, and amazing ideas came up, also with students participating and so on. I think those are initiatives that we can do here, dedicated in Leuven as well. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then the next question, Alexander Blokhuis. I see a trend of larger companies opening programs to attract startups to boost innovation in their field, like AB InBev was doing, I think, last month. Do you believe innovation is mainly startup driven?
I don't think it's solely startup driven, but I can imagine there are a lot of large organizations who are not ready to embrace innovation or to be as agile and fast as startups can go. However, I do see a lot of companies. We work with a large company in the Netherlands, and they have these internal programs where people who have an idea can pitch it, other members or co-workers can come in and they get access like 6 months, just do it. Here's some money, here's some time, go nuts. And I see amazing ideas coming out of that as well, a bit entrepreneurship as well. But I think it's mainly the speed, the lack of speed that's why it mainly is startup driven, I think.
Yeah, well, I agree. But sometimes you also need to have very expensive access to very expensive infrastructure, for instance, that only like bigger companies or research institutions can provide. So and there, I think the question is how can you bring in the entrepreneurial spirit in such situations, and so probably it's a combination of
we need
laboratoria, like IMEC is in a way a nice example. They have very expensive infrastructure available to a wide range of customers from all over the world, and this is something that is not affordable, of course, for a small startup. So how can we bridge this?
I actually see a lot of big companies doing this. So via Stad where we do this, and to be on energy efficiency, for instance. I think some of you probably saw this, but Bifutura is an example coming from a big corporate where they try to renovate houses. I do full renovations of houses end to end. And they work together with Leuven. And so they go from neighborhood to neighborhood with the deal to renovate with the neighborhood together. Like many other initiatives where big corporates are trying actually innovate the startup way, indeed. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Most of the time, if we discuss innovation, we mean technological innovation. We already mentioned it, like the engineers at the KU Leuven and so on. It's more technological driven, but there are many initiatives to foster this. How to foster social innovation? So like, not technological driven.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, a question?
I think why make a distinction between two in terms of tools that we have? I think, like with all kind of innovation, it's about bringing people together or giving them support, rewards good ideas in one way or another.
Yeah.
Try to scale up good ideas. If you find a good solution that is really useful in the educational system, find ways to make sure that all schools in Leuven, for instance, can have access to this new novelty. I don't know. I guess there are many ways, but it first of all need to be acknowledged. And I mean, we discussed this before. That it's about so many things.
Actually.
Innovation, not only technology.
Although it's mostly technology driven, but I think there's a lot of social innovation.
Yeah, it's true, and the thing is, the way I see it is that we are actually talking to them or going to them with the same language that we use if we talk to an engineer or to an economical student, and we have to use another language because they speak actually different languages, and that's okay. That's okay. But they don't. Let's not say understand, but they don't. Yeah, we need to have like maybe good examples already help that they say, oh, but wait a minute.
That's also
they're
innovation.
doing some.
Yeah.
True.
And I think it's extremely interesting when the two worlds come together, when the social initiatives meet technology. I think that is where it happens. So.
If you look at the example in Leuven, the Vaartkom, the renovation of the Vaartkom, where they are doing now, they are using the Citizen Lab platform, I believe. That's also social innovation, I believe, although it's technological driven by a crowdsourcing platform, but that's also social innovation, having the inhabitants giving input.
How to co-create things, how to involve people, empower people.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year we did a hackathon with Stad Leuven, and the mayor gave an introduction of Leuven and social issues that were there as well. And there were a lot of technological ideas there. For example, people coming to Leuven who don't speak the language and who need to find their way, find which institutions they need to be. Combine it with, let's say, chatbot technology that talks to them in their language, helps them out, helps them getting started, and so on. So I think the combination is beautiful there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have to go to the last question now, and this comes from Dirk. Very interesting, actually. Innovation can come from adopting mechanisms from other industries, like cross-industry innovation. How does Leuven look over the borders of industries, countries, continents? Maybe to go, I don't know, to some like.
I think in the technology world, we're never limited to solely Belgium. We're constantly using research from all over the world, looking what other companies in the States are doing, and so on. So I think in the technology world, that it's not that boxed. I think.
Yeah, but similarly, I think in a more public sphere, it's the same. An organization like Leuven 2030, the platform that co-creates, designs and implements the climate transition roadmap in Leuven. It works very hard with all kinds of partners in Leuven, but it has also a huge European network. It shares information, learns from others, brings in ideas. So obviously we cannot develop everything in this little island in Leuven. There are many good ideas that we need to bring in and improve and expand and accelerate.
Yeah, indeed. Katrien Rijken, and she knows the whole European system, I believe, on smart cities. All right. Okay. So thank you very much for this nice panel discussion on innovation in Leuven. I think, we have to finish here. And later on this evening, we will probably see some nice pitches from Leuven's innovators.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Likewise, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.